male elephant named Kavan arrived in Cambodia to start his new life after 8 years in solitude in Pakistan. Kavan, the world's loneliest elephant, arrived at Siem Reap International Airport on Monday afternoon. American singer and actress Cher, who had initiated a major online campaign to save Kavan, was at the airport to welcome the elephant upon its arrival. Also receiving Kavan at the airport, Secretary of State and Ministry of Environment spokesman Neth Pietra said, after receiving a blessing from monks, Kavan was taken to his new home at the 4,000-hectare sanctuary Kulen Pram Tat Wildlife in Otaming village, Odar Mienshi province. Neth Pietra confirmed that Kavan is now living at one of Cambodia's 68 wildlife sanctuaries and biodiversity corridors. 3 female domestic elephants will be relocated from Mondulkiri province to the sanctuary, in the hope that Kavan and the females will breed. Kavan was the only Asian elephant in Pakistan after the death of its mate 8 years ago. The 36-year-old male elephant was rescued by wildlife conservationists from a zoo in Pakistan in poor condition. The elephant, who was held in captivity and chains, was not properly cared for. World Health Organization's top emergency expert Mike Ryan cautioned against complacency in the wake of vaccine rollout, saying that although they were a major part of the battle against COVID-19, vaccines would not on their own end the pandemic. The approval of COVID-19 vaccine by Britain on Wednesday has raised hopes that the tide could soon turn against a virus that has killed nearly 1.5 million people globally, hammered the world economy, and upended normal life for billions. Meanwhile, WHO's Director General Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus said, recent progress on COVID-19 vaccines is positive, but the organization is concerned that this has led to a growing perception that the pandemic has ended. Tedros said the pandemic still had a long way to run, and that decisions made by citizens and governments would determine its course in a short run and when the pandemic would ultimately end. The virus emerged in Wuhan, China, a year ago, since when more than 65 million people have been reported to be infected globally. 2 promising vaccines could soon receive emergency use authorization from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, and some 20 million Americans could be vaccinated this year, helping stem the tide of the virus in the world's worst-hit country.
Highway cameras captured the moment a small plane made an emergency landing on a highway on Wednesday night in Minnesota, striking a car as motorists slammed on their brakes. According to local media, the Belanca Viking aircraft made the landing at about 9:30 p.m. on Thursday in the northbound lanes of I-35 in the Minneapolis-St. Paul suburb, Iron Hills, hitting an SUV. The driver of the SUV was not injured. The Star Tribune reported the pilot of the plane was a competitive aerobatic pilot who has represented the United States in international competition. The cause of the incident is under investigation by the Federal Aviation Administration and the National Transportation Safety Board.
Demand for emergency supplies at British food banks is predicted to increase 61% from October to December. That's 6 parcels handed out to every minute. And a reminder of how the COVID-19 pandemic has made so many people struggle for money. The Trussell Trust provided 1.2 million packages between April and September. They say they're also seeing a huge rise in the number of people seeking help who have never had to do so before. Alexander Shahid Khan is a food bank volunteer in London.
The nature of the guests who are actually queuing up are, it's changed to families as well as those who are living on the streets. And so you can definitely see that the effects of COVID have meant there's a lot of people suffering from income and food poverty at the moment.
The UK government's extended an emergency jobs subsidy programme, but many still need extra help.
I was working part-time as a cleaner for evenings. And then when COVID started, we have to quit because everything was closed. And our offices, they're not opening till 2021. because people can work from home who were working in the office, and me, they don't need me now.
I was a security guard. Life was fine. But then as soon as it hits, just lost my job, and because it had to close down, that's the end of it. And I'm just waiting to get by.
It's just really nice to know on a Monday, Wednesday and a Saturday, guaranteed a hot meal.
Latest official figures from November show Britain's unemployment rate has risen to 4.8%. The Bank of England forecasts it'll rise to nearly 8% by the middle of next year. A government spokeswoman said a £400 million support package would help those in need for the winter and beyond, including millions for food aid charities.
Deaths from the coronavirus set a single-day record in the United States, with 2 people dying every minute, prompting urgent calls for Americans to wear masks and threatened even more drastic stay-at-home orders. On Thursday, nearly 214,000 new cases and more than 2,800 deaths were reported, according to a Reuters tally of official data, with several experts projecting the death toll will soon surpass 3,000 a day. President-elect Joe Biden promised a new national strategy that will impose mask mandates where he has the authority to do so. He also urged people to wear masks voluntarily, a stronger approach than Trump's timid endorsement of mask wearing. Meanwhile, 2 promising vaccine candidates could soon receive emergency use authorization from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration.
I can tell you that when it's appropriate, I will be first in line, and I will encourage my family to take this vaccine.
In an exclusive Friday morning interview with Reuters, FDA Chief Stephen Hahn said it was realistic that 20 million Americans could be vaccinated by the end of the year.
Even if a vaccine is authorized this month and we vaccinate 20 million people this month, this virus is still with us. It is critically important that we take this seriously in the winter months.
With more than 100,000 Americans hospitalized as of Thursday, California Governor Gavin Newsom said he would impose strict new stay-at-home orders to be triggered on a region-by-region basis when less than 15% of hospital ICU capacity is available. Washington University's Institute for Health Metrics and Evaluation now projects more than 500,000 COVID-19 deaths by April 1st in the United States, even with the life-saving effects of vaccines. But the Institute said that 66,000 people could be saved if the share of Americans wearing masks in public rose to 95% in the next week.
The central German state of Hesse on Friday allowed cameras in a warehouse which will centrally store COVID-19 vaccines made by German producer BioNTech. The vaccines will be kept in so-called ultra-cold deep freezers capable of bringing down the temperature to negative 80 degrees Celsius or negative 112 degrees Fahrenheit. The location of the warehouse will be kept secret, Hesse State Interior Ministry official Tobias Bräunlein said, to keep people in the process protected.
You know that this has attracted a lot of public attention and that the topic is being discussed by various groups. We simply want to be prepared. It's unclear whether there will be attempts to influence things, and we want to protect ourselves from attempts to disrupt procedures or to disturb us in our job.
Britain on Wednesday approved Pfizer-BioNTech's COVID-19 vaccine, jumping ahead of the rest of the world in the race to begin the most crucial mass inoculation program in history.
Deforestation in Brazil's Amazon rainforest has skyrocketed to a 12-year high in 2020. Government data released on Monday showed more than 11,000 square kilometres have been wiped away. That's a patch of roughly 7 times the size of London taken out of the world's largest rainforest. And it's also up 10% from 2019. This year, fires have blazed through the Amazon, and environmentalists have blamed the government. The devastation tracks with the time since President Jair Bolsonaro took office. Bolsonaro has weakened Brazil's environmental agency and called for more commercial farming and mining, arguing it will lift the region out of poverty. Critics say this has encouraged illegal ranchers, miners, and land grabbers to clear the forest. The rate of destruction means Brazil will miss its own target to stop deforestation that it set over a decade ago under a climate change law. It's not clear what consequences there will be for missing that goal. But federal officials say the latest figures are actually progress. Technically, 2019 saw a much higher jump in the rate of deforestation, even though the amount of forest destroyed in 2020 is at decade highs. And on Monday, Vice President Hamilton Mourao said that was a sign efforts to fight deforestation were, quote, beginning to bear fruit. The destruction of the Amazon has caused international outrage. As the world's largest rainforest, its protection is crucial for stopping climate change because of the vast amounts of carbon dioxide it absorbs.